some point in all of our lives, we have thought about moving overseas. New country, new opportunities, better life. I did the same too. I moved to New Zealand. It did change my life for better, but it wasn't always picture perfect. Hi, my name is Jenny, and in this video I will be sharing about the 5 struggles that I faced as an international student moving from India. Something that your social media might have conveniently skipped out on. Maybe your algorithm hasn't picked this up yet. Let's talk about those challenges and how I overcame them. When I was doing my research on New Zealand, every article that I read, every YouTube video that I watched, it pitched New Zealand as a country which was calm, peaceful, and slow. Coming from one of the busiest cities in India, it only felt natural that I would lean into such kind of peace and quiet. It wasn't so much the peace that I struggled with, it was the silence. You see, there's a difference between being alone and lonely. I grew up in a really big family, so there was always someone around the house. Relatives dropping by, kids running around, cousins giggling in the corner. Even outside the house, there was so much noise of the rickshaw pullers, the food hawkers. It was noisy, it was chaotic, it was alive, it was spontaneous. I didn't know I would miss these things so much in New Zealand. After I checked into my dorm and unpacked my luggage, I stood up in the middle of the room looking around, and all I could see was the walls, my unpacked luggage on the floor. Outside the window was the snow-capped mountain and the silence. It was just the sound of the clock ticking somewhere and the breath that I was taking. In that moment, I realized, oh my God, what have I just done? The silence, which wasn't peaceful, the quiet that was screaming at me, the realization that I had after the adrenaline rush of moving into another country had faded away. Slowly yet steadily, I created that good kind of noise back into my life. Group video calls to my family, assignments with my friends, which turned into 2 a.m. heart-to-hearts, the sudden spontaneous road trips. My international friends became my adopted family. You see, as international students, we just don't adapt, we rebuild. For someone like me, who only knew how to make a cup of chai, noodles, or salad, I quickly had to learn the art of cooking once I moved to New Zealand. I still remember my first day at grocery. My cart was filled of all sorts of stuff. When I unpacked everything back in the kitchen, I had forgotten the 2 most important ingredients, salt and onion. This must tell you how much I knew about cooking. Relying on takeaways soon became quite expensive, so I had to quickly learn how to cook. It was in this moment that I realized how much effort goes into my mom's cooking. It wasn't just food, it was home, it was care, it was love. Some of the luxuries that I would miss when I moved to New Zealand. The food that I was used to eating was foreign in New Zealand. Every time I'd go to the supermarket and look at some of the vegetables, it felt foreign. My diet had completely changed. I didn't know about zucchini or broccoli or Brussels sprouts before I came to New Zealand. And because of this, I had some health conditions in the first few weeks of moving to New Zealand. I was not eating healthy and nutritious food. When times got too tough and I was starting to feel homesick, I'd often every now and then treat myself, go visit the local Indian restaurant and treat myself to a nice Indian meal, eat all my Indian street food takeaways such as the chaat, the pani puri, the chole bhature, from the part-time jobs that I had worked and the money that I had saved. And it was just really my reconnection to my culture. Once you have had the moment of realization, you are never truly the same. People often think that moving to an English-speaking country automatically improves your English. I disagree with that. First it breaks you, then it makes you. It takes real mental energy to think and speak in the language that you are not used to speaking. Some days I just want to say what I felt without having to translate my soul. It got to a point where my jaws would literally hurt after the entire day of speaking English. I underestimated how much English was necessary when I moved to New Zealand. It is not just in classroom, but at work, ordering coffee, getting on and off the bus. Every single moment of your life, you have to communicate in English. You see, I grew up in an English medium school. That means that English was the primary form of communication at school. But after school, during weekends, school holidays, my mother tongue was Urdu. In New Zealand, Urdu becomes rare. I started to miss the ease of expression. Slowly but surely, English does become second to nature. You start communicating in it by default. Years later, when I visited India, I was speaking in English unknowingly. And then as well, it feels strange, especially during family dinners. I never had a full-time job in India. I was still living with my parents when I moved to New Zealand, so I didn't really know what earning was like. In the beginning, I was converting every single dollar in Indian rupees. An example would be I'd go to buy a chocolate, I would see the price, convert that in my brain, and then put the chocolate quietly back to its place. I soon realized that this was not going to be sustainable if I had chosen to live a life in New Zealand. I had to find the right balance between living financially independent and living this new life in New Zealand. You see, life is not run on budgets and Excel spreadsheets. It's run on late-night grocery runs, takeaways with friends, unexpected medical bills. I started working part-time jobs immediately. I was hustling. I worked weekends, after school, during school holidays. I picked up any part-time job that I could. I never let my ego make decisions for me. I smiled through all my shifts. With every dollar that I earned, I gained a little bit more strength, a bit more confidence, a bit more pride and independence. The only way I learned adulting was surviving through it. If it wasn't for my instant noodles for dinner days, I wouldn't have a story to share with you today. There was a young milkmaid who was carrying a pail of milk on her head. While she was walking through the market, she had this idea that once she gets the milk to the market, she would be able to sell the milk, earn some money. With the money that she earns, she would buy some chickens. The chickens would lay eggs, and then she would be able to sell the milk and the eggs in the market. She would have enough money saved to buy a nice, beautiful dress. And not any dress, a Royal Navy blue dress. Once she has worn that dress, she will look really beautiful, and a rich man might notice her. He might approach her. She might get married to him. And then she wouldn't have to carry the pail of milk anymore. Her servants would be carrying the pail of milk for her. In that moment of imagination, the young milkmaid, she missed a step and fell on the ground. Her pail tumbled, the milk was all over on the ground along with her dreams. In this story, the message that we're trying to learn is to watch out every single step and focus on what is right in front of you. This is a classic mistake that all of us as international students, we get too much caught up in what ifs and what not. Life takes a really fast pace once you move to New Zealand. One of the biggest challenges that I had was the balance between working and studying. There were times when I had to cut back down on my work hours to focus on my studies. I always questioned myself, what was the purpose that I came to New Zealand? It was to study, it was to graduate. This was my contract with Immigration New Zealand. When Immigration New Zealand accepted your student visa, they had some conditions that they had laid down for you to be a genuine student. Missing out on those conditions can have serious consequences. Not taking your studies seriously as an international student is one of the biggest mistakes. Do you know what happens after this? Absenteeism, plagiarism, failed papers, suspension from the school, and sometimes visa rejection and deportation. All because you forgot what truly mattered. So don't make the mistake of what that young milkmaid did. If you have made so far into this video, thank you so much. I hope this video gave you something to reflect about on later. Moving abroad is a big decision, but with every challenge that you face and overcome, it teaches you something new about yourself. Remember, if it is not right, it is not the end. You can reach out to us as well if you are interested about moving to New Zealand to study. I have linked below in the description a registration form. Fill out as much details as you can and tell us why you want to move to New Zealand to study. We will reach out to find out what your pathway in New Zealand looks like.